Success is not an accident. It's not luck. It's not about being in the right place at the right time, though that helps. Success is about developing the right mental framework, the right philosophy, the right way of thinking that naturally leads to right actions, which naturally lead to right results. And that, my friends, begins and ends with mastering your mindset. Now, let me share something with you that changed my life forever. When I was 25 years old, I met a man who became my mentor. He taught me that we become what we think about most of the time. Think about that for a moment. We become what we think about most of the time. If you're thinking about your problems, you become a problem. If you're thinking about your goals, you become goal-oriented. If you're thinking about success, you start developing the characteristics of successful people. The mind is like a garden. Whatever you plant grows. If you plant tomatoes, you get tomatoes. If you plant weeds, you get weeds. And here's the fascinating part. If you plant nothing, you still get something. You get weeds. Because weeds don't need cultivation. They grow naturally. But if you want tomatoes, you've got to plant tomato seeds. Water them, fertilize them, protect them from the elements, and tend to them every single day. Your mind works the same way. You feed it positive thoughts, constructive ideas, and empowering beliefs. You'll develop a successful mindset. But if you feed it negative thoughts, destructive ideas, and limiting beliefs, or if you feed it nothing at all, you'll develop a mindset that works against you. The choice is always yours, and that choice is made fresh every single day. I want you to understand something fundamental about mindset. Your mindset is not fixed. It's not something you're born with and stuck with forever. Your mindset is like a muscle. The more you exercise it in the right direction, the stronger it becomes. The more you feed it the right mental nutrition, the healthier it becomes. And just like physical fitness, mental fitness requires daily discipline and commitment. Think about the most successful people you know or have studied. What do they all have in common? They all think differently than average people. They have what I call a success mindset. They see opportunities where others see obstacles. They see possibilities where others see problems. They see stepping stones where others see stumbling blocks. This isn't because they're lucky or because life is easier for them. It's because they've trained their minds to look for and focus on what serves their goals and their growth. Here's a profound truth I want you to grasp. Your outer world is a reflection of your inner world. If you want to change what's happening around you, you must first change what's happening within you. If you want different results in your life, you must first become a different person on the inside. And that transformation begins with transforming your mindset. Let me tell you about the power of beliefs. Your beliefs are the foundation of your mindset. They're the assumptions you make about yourself, about others, about how the world works, and about what's possible. These beliefs act like filters in your mind. They determine what you notice and what you ignore, what you pursue and what you avoid, what you attempt and what you never even consider. If you believe you're not smart enough, you won't pursue opportunities that require intelligence. If you believe you're not worthy of success, you'll sabotage yourself every time you get close to achieving it. If you believe that rich people are greedy or that money is the root of all evil, you'll unconsciously push wealth away from your life. But if you believe you can learn anything you need to learn, if you believe you deserve success, if you believe that money is simply a tool that amplifies who you already are, then you'll move toward success with confidence and clarity. The beautiful thing about beliefs is that you get to choose them. You're not stuck with the beliefs you grew up with or the beliefs that society has imposed on you. You can examine your beliefs, question them, and change the ones that don't serve you. This is one of the most liberating discoveries you can make. You have the power to choose what you believe, and what you believe shapes everything else in your life. Now, let's talk about the enemy of a success mindset. It's not poverty. It's not lack of education. It's not even lack of opportunity. The enemy of a success mindset is negative thinking. Negative thinking is like a virus that infects every area of your life. It makes you focus on what's wrong instead of what's right, on what you lack instead of what you have, on why you can't instead of how you can. Negative thinking is also contagious. Spend time around negative people and start thinking negatively. Listen to negative news all day and you'll develop a negative outlook. Surround yourself with negative influences, and you'll develop negative patterns of thought that will sabotage your success before you even get started. But here's the good news: positive thinking is even more powerful than negative thinking, and it's also contagious. When you develop a positive mindset, when you train yourself to look for the good in every situation, when you focus on solutions instead of problems, when you see setbacks as setups for comebacks, you become a magnet for positive people, positive opportunities, and positive results. Positive thinking isn't about pretending that problems don't exist or putting on a happy face when things are falling apart. True positive thinking is about maintaining faith in your ability to handle whatever life throws at you. It's about believing that every problem has a solution, that every setback contains a lesson, and that every ending is also a new beginning. Let me share with you one of the most important mindset principles I've ever learned. You are where you are and what you are because of what you've thought and done up to this point. Your current results are not accidents. They're not coincidences. They're the natural outcome of your past thinking and actions. If you want different results in the future, you must think different thoughts and take different actions starting today. This principle is both sobering and liberating. Sobering because it means you're responsible for your current situation. You can't blame your parents, your circumstances, your education, or your luck. But it's liberating because it means you have the power to change your future. If your thinking and actions created your current reality, then changing your thinking and actions can create a new reality. Success begins in the mind long before it manifests in the world. Everything that exists was first created in someone's imagination. Every building was first a thought in an architect's mind. Every business was first an idea in an entrepreneur's mind. Every achievement was first a goal in someone's mind. Your success will first be created in your mind before it becomes your reality. This is why successful people spend time visualizing their goals, affirming their capabilities, and mentally rehearsing their success. They understand that the mind can't tell the difference between a vividly imagined experience and a real one. When you repeatedly visualize yourself achieving your goals, your subconscious mind begins to accept these images as reality and starts looking for ways to make them come true. But visualization alone isn't enough. You must combine it with action. Dreams without action remain dreams. Goals without action remain wishes. Visualization without action is just daydreaming. But when you combine a clear mental picture of what you want with consistent action toward achieving it, you create an unstoppable force for success. Let me tell you about the power of self-talk. The average person has about 60,000 thoughts per day. And research shows that about 80% of those thoughts are negative. Think about that. Most people are literally programming themselves for failure without even realizing it. They're constantly telling themselves why they can't, why they shouldn't, why they're not good enough, why it won't work, why they don't deserve it. Your self-talk is the most important conversation you'll ever have because it's the only conversation that's always happening. You talk to yourself more than anyone else talks to you. You listen to yourself more than you listen to anyone else. And what you say to yourself shapes what you believe about yourself, which shapes how you feel about yourself, which shapes how you act, which ultimately shapes your results. If you want to master your mindset for success, you must master your self-talk. You must become conscious of what you're saying to yourself and deliberately choose words that empower rather than discourage, that build up rather than tear down, that move you toward your goals rather than away from them. Instead of saying, I can't do this, say, I'm learning how to do this. Instead of saying, I'm not good at this, say, I'm getting better at this. Instead of saying, this is too hard, say, this is challenging me to grow. Instead of saying, I always mess up, say, I'm human and I'm learning from my mistakes. Small changes in your self-talk create big changes in your results. Now, let's discuss the importance of having a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset. People with a fixed mindset believe that their abilities, intelligence, and talents are fixed traits that can't be significantly developed. They think you either have it or you don't. This leads them to avoid challenges, give up easily when faced with obstacles, ignore useful negative feedback, and feel threatened by other people's success. People with a growth mindset, on the other hand, believe that abilities, intelligence, and talents can be developed through dedication, hard work, and learning from failures. They embrace challenges, persist in the face of setbacks, learn from criticism, and find inspiration in other people's success. They understand that the word yet is one of the most powerful words in the English language. They don't say, I can't do this. They say, I can't do this yet. The difference between these two mindsets is profound. A fixed mindset limits your potential because it convinces you that your current abilities are your permanent limitations. A growth mindset expands your potential because it convinces you that your current abilities are just your starting point. Which mindset do you have? Look at how you respond to challenges. Do you avoid them or embrace them? Look at how you respond to failure. Do you see it as evidence that you're not capable, or do you see it as information that helps you improve? Look at how you respond to criticism. Do you take it personally and get defensive, or do you look for the useful feedback that can help you grow? Your mindset about your mindset is crucial. If you believe your mind is fixed and unchangeable, you won't invest the effort required to develop it. But if you believe your mind is like a muscle that grows stronger with exercise, you'll be willing to do the mental work required to build a success mindset. Let me share something that might surprise you. Successful people fail more often than unsuccessful people. That's not a typo. Successful people fail more because they attempt more, they take more risks, try more things, and put themselves in more situations where failure is possible. But here's the key difference: they don't let failure define them or defeat them. They let failure educate them and elevate them. Failure is not the opposite of success. It's a stepping stone to success. Every failure teaches you something that brings you closer to success. Every no brings you closer to a yes. Every mistake shows you what doesn't work, which brings you closer to finding what does work. Every setback sets you up for a comeback if you have the right mindset. The most successful people I know have developed what I call failure immunity. They've trained their minds to see failure not as a reflection of their worth or their potential, but as valuable feedback that helps them adjust their approach. They fail fast, fail forward, and fail better. They understand that failure is not falling down, it's staying down. This brings us to one of the most important mindset skills you can develop: resilience. Resilience is your ability to bounce back from setbacks, to recover from disappointments, to keep going when things get tough. It's not about avoiding problems or pretending they don't hurt. It's about developing the mental and emotional strength to handle whatever life throws at you and to use those experiences to become stronger and wiser. Resilience is built through practice. Every time you face a challenge and work through it, you build resilience. Every time you experience a setback and bounce back, you build resilience. Every time you feel like quitting but keep going anyway, you build resilience. Like physical strength, mental resilience grows stronger with exercise. One of the key components of resilience is perspective. How you interpret what happens to you determines how you respond to it. Two people can experience the exact same event and have completely different responses based on how they interpret that event. The person who interprets the event as evidence that life is unfair and success is impossible will respond with discouragement and defeat. The person who interprets the same event as a challenge to overcome and a lesson to learn will respond with determination and growth. Your perspective is always your choice. You can't always choose what happens to you, but you can always choose what it means to you. You can choose to see obstacles as stop signs or as detours. You can choose to see setbacks as endings or as new beginnings. You can choose to see problems as punishments or as opportunities to develop your problem-solving skills. Let's talk about the power of focus. Your mind is like a spotlight. Whatever you shine that spotlight on becomes magnified in your experience. If you focus on your problems become bigger. If you focus on your possibilities become bigger. If you focus on what's wrong with your life, you'll find more things that are wrong. If you focus on what's right with your life, you'll find more things that are right. Successful people have learned to focus on what they want rather than what they don't want, on where they're going rather than where they've been, on what they can control rather than what they can't control. They understand that focus is power, and they direct that power toward their goals and their growth. But focus is not just about what you think about, it's also about what you expose your mind to. If you want to develop a success mindset, you must be selective about what you read, what you watch, who you listen to, and who you spend time with. Your mind is constantly being programmed by the information it receives. Make sure you're programming it with success-oriented input. Read books by and about successful people. Listen to educational and motivational content. Watch programs that inspire and inform rather than depress and discourage. Associate with people who are positive, growth-oriented, and success-minded. Remember, you become like the people you spend the most time with, so choose your associations carefully. This brings us to the importance of having mentors and role models. One of the fastest ways to develop a success mindset is to study people who already have one. Find people who have achieved what you want to achieve and study how they think. What beliefs do they hold? How do they interpret challenges? How do they respond to setbacks? What do they focus on? How do they talk to themselves? You don't need to have personal access to these people. You can study them through their books, interviews, speeches, and biographies. The key is to understand that success leaves clues. Successful people think in similar ways, and you can learn to think the way they think. But don't just study successful people. Study yourself. Become aware of your own thought patterns. Notice when you're thinking thoughts that serve you and when you're thinking thoughts that sabotage you. Pay attention to your emotional states and trace them back to the thoughts that created them. The more conscious you become of your own mental processes, the more power you have to direct them. Now, let me address something that holds many people back from developing a success mindset, the fear of success itself. Yes, you heard that right. Many people are afraid of success. They're afraid of the responsibility that comes with it, the expectations that others will have of them, the changes they'll have to make in their lives, or the possibility that they won't be able to handle it. If you have a fear of success, you'll unconsciously sabotage yourself every time you get close to achieving your goals. You'll procrastinate, make excuses, create distractions, or find ways to fail that seem beyond your control. This is why it's so important to examine your beliefs about success and make sure they're beliefs that support rather than sabotage your efforts. Success is not something to fear, it's something to embrace. Success doesn't make you a bad person, it makes you a more capable person. Success doesn't separate you from others, it positions you to serve others at a higher level. Success doesn't create problems, it gives you the resources to solve problems more effectively. Another mindset principle that's crucial for success is the principle of taking personal responsibility. You must take complete responsibility for your life. Not partial responsibility, not conditional responsibility, but complete responsibility. This means acknowledging that you are the primary creative force in your life, that your choices determine your results, and that blame is just an excuse that keeps you stuck. Taking personal responsibility is not about blaming yourself for everything that happens to you. It's about recognizing that regardless of what happens to you, you always have the power to choose your response, and your response determines your experience and your results. When you take personal responsibility, you reclaim your power. When you blame others or circumstances, you give your power away. This principle extends to taking responsibility for your own learning and growth. Don't wait for someone else to teach you what you need to know. Don't wait for your company to send you to training. Don't wait for your circumstances to improve before you start working on yourself. Take responsibility for your own education, your own development, and your own success. The moment you take complete responsibility for your life is the moment your life begins to change. Why? Because when you stop looking for someone or something to blame, you start looking for solutions. When you stop making excuses, you start making progress. When you stop waiting for perfect conditions, you start creating them. Let's talk about the power of goals in shaping your mindset. Goals are like magnets for your mind. They pull your thoughts, your attention, and your actions in their direction. When you have clear, specific, written goals, your mind automatically starts looking for ways to achieve them. You notice opportunities you would have missed otherwise. You make connections you wouldn't have made. You take actions you wouldn't have taken. But goals do more than just direct your actions, they shape your identity. When you have goals, you see yourself as someone who is going somewhere, someone who has direction and purpose. This changes how you think about yourself and how you approach each day. Instead of just going through the motions, you're moving with intention towards something meaningful. The key to effective goal setting is making your goals specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Vague goals produce vague results. Specific goals produce specific results. Don't just say you want to be successful. Define exactly what success means to you. Don't just say you want to make more money. Specify exactly how much money you want to make and by when. Write your goals down. There's something powerful about putting your goals in writing. It makes them real. It makes them official. It makes them harder to ignore or forget. Studies have shown that people who write down their goals are significantly more likely to achieve them than people who just think about their goals. Review your goals regularly. Your goals should be living documents that you revisit frequently. As you grow and change, your goals may need to grow and change too. Regular goal review keeps your goals fresh in your mind and helps you stay focused on what's most important. Share your goals with others, especially with people who will support and encourage you. When you make your goals public, you create accountability. You're more likely to follow through on goals that others know about than on goals you keep to yourself. But remember, goals are not just about the destination. They're about who you become in the process of pursuing them. The person you become while working toward your goals is often more valuable than achieving the goals themselves. Every goal you pursue develops your character, your skills, and your confidence. Every goal you achieve proves to yourself that you can set targets and hit them, which strengthens your belief in your ability to achieve even bigger goals. This brings us to the importance of having a long-term perspective. Success is not a sprint, it's a marathon. It's not about what you can achieve in a day, a week, or even a month. It's about what you can achieve over years and decades through consistent, disciplined effort. Most people overestimate what they can accomplish in a year and underestimate what they can accomplish in 10 years. They want immediate results and give up when they don't see quick progress, but success is like compound interest. The effects of your efforts compound over time, and the longer you stay consistent, the more dramatic your results become. Develop what I call the compound effect mindset. Understand that small actions repeated consistently over time create massive results. Reading for 30 minutes a day may not seem like much, but over a year, that's over 180 hours of reading. Over 10 years, that's over 1,800 hours. That's enough time to become an expert in almost any field. The same principle applies to every area of your life. Small improvements in your health habits compound into extraordinary fitness. Small improvements in your communication skills compound into extraordinary relationships. Small improvements in your financial habits compound into extraordinary wealth. The key is consistency over time. This long-term perspective also helps you handle short-term setbacks and disappointments. When you're focused on where you'll be in 10 years, temporary failures and delays don't seem as significant. You understand that success is not a straight line from where you are to where you want to be. It's more like a staircase with plateaus and even occasional steps backward, but with an overall upward trajectory. Let me tell you about the power of persistence. Persistence is the quality that turns failure into extraordinary achievement, that turns obstacles into opportunities, that turns setbacks into comebacks. Most people give up just before they would have succeeded. They stop just before the breakthrough. They quit just before the harvest. Calvin Coolidge said it best, nothing in this world can take the place of persistence. Talent will not, nothing is more common than unsuccessful men with talent. Genius will not, unrewarded genius is almost a proverb. Education will not, the world is full of educated derelicts. Persistence and determination alone are omnipotent. Persistence is not just about continuing to do the same thing over and over. It's about continuing to move toward your goal even when you have to change your approach. It's about being flexible in your methods but inflexible in your commitment to your outcome. It's about learning from each attempt and improving your approach with each effort. Successful people understand that persistence is not just a behavior, it's a mindset. It's the mindset that says, I will find a way or make one. It's the mindset that sees every no as bringing you closer to a yes. It's the mindset that treats every failure as feedback and every setback as a setup for a comeback. Now let's discuss the importance of continuous learning and growth. In today's rapidly changing world, the ability to learn and adapt is more important than what you already know. Your current knowledge and skills got you to where you are, but they won't necessarily get you to where you want to go. You must commit to becoming a lifelong learner. Successful people are always growing. They're always reading. studying, attending seminars, listening to educational content, and seeking new knowledge and skills. They understand that learning is not just about acquiring information, it's about developing the ability to think more effectively, solve problems more creatively, and adapt to change more quickly. Make learning a habit. Set aside time each day for reading, studying, or skill development. Choose learning over entertainment. Instead of watching another television show, read a book that will help you grow. Instead of scrolling through social media, listen to a podcast that will expand your knowledge. Instead of gossiping with coworkers, have conversations that will stretch your thinking. Learn from everyone and everything. Successful people learn from other successful people, but they also learn from failures, both their own and others. They learn from books, but they also learn from experience. They learn from formal education, but they also learn from the school of hard knocks. They understand that life is constantly teaching, and they position themselves as constant students. But learning without application is just intellectual entertainment. You must apply what you learn. You must take action on the insights you gain. You must practice the skills you develop. Knowledge without action is powerless, but knowledge combined with action is unstoppable. Let's talk about the role of habits in developing a success mindset. Your habits are the building blocks of your life. They're the small decisions you make and actions you take every day that over time shape who you become and what you achieve. Aristotle said, "We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence then is not an act, but a habit." If you want to develop a success mindset, you must develop success habits. You must make thinking positively a habit. You must make setting and reviewing goals a habit. You must make learning and growing a habit. You must make taking action toward your dreams a habit. You must make persistence in the face of obstacles a habit. The beautiful thing about habits is that once they're established, they become automatic. You don't have to use willpower or motivation to do them. You just do them naturally. This frees up your mental energy for more important decisions and activities. Start small when developing new habits. Don't try to change everything at once. Pick one or two habits that will have the biggest impact on your mindset and success, and focus on establishing those first. Once they become automatic, you can add more habits to your repertoire. Be patient with the habit development process. Research shows that it takes an average of 60 days to establish a new habit. Some habits take longer, some take less time, but the key is consistency. Focus on showing up every day, even if you don't feel like it, even if you can only do a small version of the habit. Consistency beats intensity when it comes to habit formation. Now, I want to address the importance of surrounding yourself with the right people. Jim Rohn famously said, "You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with." This is particularly true when it comes to mindset. If you spend time with negative people, their negativity will influence your thinking. If you spend time with positive, successful people, their positivity and success-oriented thinking will influence your mindset. Look at the people in your life. Are they lifting you up or pulling you down? Are they encouraging your dreams or discouraging them? Are they focused on possibilities or problems? Are they growing and improving? Or are they stuck and stagnant? The answers to these questions will tell you a lot about the influence these people are having on your mindset. This doesn't mean you should abandon family members or friends who are struggling, but it does mean you should be intentional about who you spend your time with and who you allow to influence your thinking. Seek out people who have the kind of mindset you want to develop. Join groups, organizations, or communities where successful, positive people gather. Attend events where you can learn from people who have achieved what you want to achieve. Remember, association is education. You learn from everyone you spend time with, whether you realize it or not. Make sure you're learning the right lessons from the right people. Let me share with you one of the most powerful mindset principles I know, the principle of service. True success is not just about what you get, it's about what you give. It's not just about how much money you make, it's about how much value you create. It's not just about achieving your goals, it's about helping others achieve theirs. When you develop a service mindset, when you focus on how you can help others and add value to their lives, several things happen. First, you stop being self-centered and start being other-centered, which makes you more attractive to others and opens up more opportunities. Second, you develop skills and character qualities that serve you in all areas Third, you create goodwill and build relationships that often come back to benefit you in unexpected ways. Service also gives your life meaning and purpose beyond just personal achievement. When you know that what you're doing is making a positive difference in other people's lives, it becomes easier to persist through challenges and setbacks. Your why becomes bigger than your obstacles. Look for ways to serve others in everything you do. If you're in business, focus on how you can better serve your customers. If you're an employee, focus on how you can better serve your company and your colleagues. If you're a parent, focus on how you can better serve your children. If you're a friend, focus on how you can better serve your friends. The paradox of service is that the more you focus on giving, the more you receive. The more you focus on helping others succeed, the more successful you become. This is not just a nice philosophy, it's a practical principle that works in the real world. As we near the end of our time together, I want to emphasize that developing a success mindset is not a one-time event. It's an ongoing process. It's not something you do once and then forget about. It's something you must work on every day for the rest of your life. Your mindset, like your physical health, requires daily attention and care. Some days will be easier than others. Some days your positive mindset will feel natural and effortless. Other days you'll have to fight for it. Some days you'll feel motivated and inspired. Other days you'll have to rely on discipline and commitment. This is normal. Success is not about having perfect days. It's about having more good days than bad days and making progress even on the difficult days. Be patient with yourself as you develop your success mindset. Change takes time. Growth is a process. Don't expect to transform your thinking overnight. Celebrate small improvements. Acknowledge your progress. Be kind to yourself when you have setbacks, but don't use setbacks as excuses to give up. Remember that your mindset is your choice. Every moment of every day you get to choose what you think about, what you focus on, what you believe, and how you interpret what happens to you. These choices made consistently over time will determine the quality of your life and the level of your success. You have within you right now everything you need to succeed. You have a mind capable of learning, growing, and creating. You have the ability to choose your thoughts, direct your focus, and control your responses. You have the power to set goals, make plans, and take action. You have the capacity to persist through challenges, learn from failures, and adapt to change. The question is not whether you can succeed. The question is whether you will develop the mindset that makes success inevitable. Will you choose to think like a successful person? Will you choose to focus on possibilities rather than problems? Will you choose to see obstacles as opportunities to grow? Will you choose to persist when things get tough? Will you choose to keep learning, growing, and improving throughout your life? These are the choices that separate successful people from unsuccessful people. These are the choices that will determine your destiny. And these are choices you get to make fresh every single day. Your success mindset journey begins with a decision. The decision to take control of your thinking. The decision to focus on what you want rather than what you don't want. The decision to believe in your ability to learn, grow, and achieve your goals. The decision to persist in the face of obstacles. The decision to serve others while pursuing your own success. Make that decision today. Make it again tomorrow. Make it every day for the rest of your life. Your future self will thank you for it, and the world will benefit from the unique contribution that only you can make when you're operating from a mindset of success. The time for excuses is over. The time for blame is over. The time for waiting for perfect conditions is over. The time for action is now. The time for developing your success mindset is now. The time for creating the life you truly want is now. Your mindset is your destiny. Master it, and you master your life. The choice is yours, and the time is now. Go make it happen.